Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus Channel. The future of carrier aviation no longer begins only with fighter jets. That privilege is now shared with an unmanned aircraft built for one of the most important jobs in naval warfare, keeping other aircraft in the air. That aircraft is the MQ-25 Stingray, the first operational carrier-based unmanned tanker designed to extend the range and flexibility of the air wing. The Stingray measures about 51 feet in length, with a 75-foot wingspan spread and 31.3 feet folded, making it large enough to look less like a small drone and more like a purpose-built naval aircraft. That size matters because it is a working carrier tanker meant to free strike fighters from hauling fuel for other aircraft. And yet, the MQ-25 idea is not entirely a novelty. On December 20, 2021, sailors aboard USS George H.W. Bush carried out the unmanned carrier aviation demonstration of the MQ-25A prototype, an important step in bringing unmanned aircraft into normal deck operations. From that point on, the drone was no longer just an engineering project. It had become part of carrier life at sea. Deck crews guide it into place, align it with the catapult track, and clear the surrounding space with the same careful choreography used for manned aircraft. When the MQ-25 surges off the deck, the message is unmistakable. The carrier is no longer launching only pilots, it is launching endurance, taking fuel into the sky and extending the striking radius of the air wing. That future became historic in stages. On June 4, 2021, the program completed the first aerial refueling operation between an unmanned tanker and a manned receiver aircraft, using an F/A-18 Super Hornet. So when the drone refuels a manned fighter, it is doing far more than passing fuel. It is proving that unmanned systems can now be woven directly into the structure of carrier warfare. And yet the MQ-25 did not appear out of nowhere. Later testing expanded to other aircraft in the carrier air wing, including the F-35C. Before the Stingray could become a practical tanker, another unmanned aircraft had to prove that a pilotless machine could live, move, launch, and recover aboard a carrier at sea. That earlier aircraft absorbed the risk of firsts. It turned the deck into a laboratory, the launch into a milestone, and the dream of unmanned carrier aviation into something the fleet could begin to trust in real operations. Only then could the fleet pursue a practical carrier tanker drone program. That earlier chapter belonged to the X-47B, the unmanned combat air system demonstrator that forced the carrier deck to adapt to a pilotless aircraft. In November 2012, sailors aboard USS Harry S. Truman assisted with unloading the aircraft, making Truman the first carrier to host test operations for this kind of unmanned system. That mattered before the aircraft ever launched, because carrier aviation is not only about flying. It is about towing, spotting, parking, signaling, and integrating a strange new machine into one of the most dangerous workplaces in the military. The next leap came at sea on May 14, 2013, when the X-47B completed the first successful catapult launch of an unmanned aircraft from a carrier deck. That launch changed the argument immediately. The question was no longer whether a carrier could physically host a drone. The answer was yes. The harder question became what missions that drone could eventually perform once it left the ship. The X-47B answered that too. On April 22, 2015, at Patuxent River, Maryland, it completed the first fully autonomous aerial refueling of an unmanned aircraft, achieving the final major objective under the demonstration program. That event mattered because aerial refueling is one of the most precise maneuvers in aviation. Normally, a pilot must hold exact position, judge closure, and stay steady while fuel passes between aircraft. The X-47B proved that autonomy could handle that complexity. That is why the X-47B remains such an important bridge in naval aviation history. First, it proved that an unmanned aircraft could be handled aboard a carrier. Then, it launched from the deck. Then it completed autonomous refueling. The MQ-25 now looks more practical and less radical because the X-47B already absorbed the shock of those historic firsts. But drones do not launch themselves, and before any aircraft leaves a carrier, it must be handed over to the violent machinery built into the flight deck itself. That practical side of the program was critical. Carrier aviation is built on routine under pressure, and the X-47B had to prove it could fit into that routine before anyone could imagine it operating in combat conditions later at sea, with the fleet watching closely. And that machinery is anything but simple. During the refueling and complex overhaul of USS George Washington, sailors installed catapults on the flight deck as part of a once-in-a-lifetime modernization during the carrier's 50-year service life. That detail matters because launches do not depend only on pilots and deck crews. They depend on heavy systems buried inside the ship itself. The launch process is a chain. Aircraft are positioned on the track. Launch gear connects the aircraft to the catapult. Final checks pass through the deck team in practice signals. Behind the aircraft, the jet blast deflector rises, shielding personnel and equipment from engine exhaust before launch. On newer carriers, crews even rehearse emergency jet blast deflector procedures, a sign of how much depends on timing and coordination around every shot off the deck. Then there is the bubble room, the enclosed space where flight deck personnel watch and help control launch operations. From there, the carrier turns deck traffic, machinery, and raw engine power into a controlled event. By the time an aircraft is released, the launch has already passed through layers of engineering, observation, and command. That same machinery serves both the drone and the fighter, which is why the final part of the story belongs to the jets that still define carrier air power today. Installing a catapult is itself a reminder of scale. Massive components have to be lowered into the ship, aligned with deck structure, and integrated with the systems that will hurl aircraft into the sky in seconds. Nothing about that process is light or delicate, yet every part of it must end in precision. The bubble room reflects the same logic. Launches look explosive from outside, but inside they are monitored through calm procedures, clear observation, and disciplined control on every single launch. And that bow launch is still most often associated with fighters. Before a jet reaches the catapult, however, it is already passed through a shipboard logistics chain beginning deep below the flight deck. Carrier combat power starts in the magazines and hangar bay. In magazine spaces, ordnance is stored, managed, and moved with strict control because bombs, missiles, and other munitions must travel safely upward before they ever meet an aircraft. The ordnance elevator becomes the vertical bridge between stored firepower and the warplane waiting above. In the hangar bay, aircraft movement is its own choreography. Sailors tow jets through a dense steel interior where spacing is tight and every wingtip matters. The aircraft may look dormant there, but the bay is a staging floor where maintenance, spotting, arming preparation, and traffic control overlap. The process is deliberate because a carrier never has unlimited room. Every airplane moved in the hangar is being positioned for what comes next. That next step is the elevator ride to the flight deck. Massive deck-edge elevators lift the fighter from the enclosed world below into the open violence of carrier operations above. It is one of the most striking transitions in naval aviation. The jet rises from a maintenance space into wind, noise, salt, and urgency. Once topside, the aircraft joins the rhythm of yellow shirts, tractors, handlers, directors, and crews, all trying to turn a crowded moving airfield into an efficient launch platform. Then, the launch sequence tightens. The jet is towed into place. It rolls up to the catapult. Deck crews signal, inspect, and clear. Behind the aircraft, the jet blast deflector rises. When the launch happens, it is brutally quick. The catapult hurls the aircraft forward, the nose lifts, and suddenly, the jet is no longer part of the ship. That moment remains one of the defining images of carrier power because it compresses engineering, deck labor, and combat purposes into a few seconds. Yet even here, the drone story remains connected. The same catapult that throws a fighter into the sky can also launch an MQ-25. The same deck crews who move a manned aircraft into position can guide an unmanned tanker to the bow. That is the deeper significance of launching a futuristic giant drone at sea. The carrier is not abandoning fighter aviation. It is widening the air wing. Fighters still bring the visible punch, whether they are rising from the elevator, sitting against a raised jet blast deflector, or screaming down the catapult track. But the new drone brings endurance, range, and a support system that makes the whole force more efficient and more deadly. The X-47B proved that an unmanned aircraft could be handled, launched, and trusted in naval operations. The MQ-25 takes that lesson and turns it into a practical tanker designed to push the air wing farther. Beneath both of them lies the catapult, the bubble room, the blast deflector, the elevators, the hangar traffic, and the magazine chain that make carrier launches possible. The aircraft carrier remains what it has always been, a floating machine for turning preparation into projection. The difference now is that some aircraft leaving its deck no longer need a pilot in the cockpit to determine or change the battle far beyond the horizon for naval warfare. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.